for your patience. Will the state make an opening statement as we begin the punishment phase?
No, no.
You may call your first witness.
State calls Ms. Allison Jean.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I affirm.
Thank you. Please make yourself comfortable.
May I proceed, ma'am?
Oh, yes, please.
Please state your name and spell your first and last name for the court reporter.
Allison Jean, Allison Jean.
And Ms. Jean, where are you from?
I'm from St. Lucia,
And how long have you been in St. Lucia?
all my life.
What do you do in St. Lucia?
I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the National Utilities Regulatory Commission. It's the commission that regulates water and energy in St. Lucia.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury a little bit about your family dynamics, your family makeup?
Well, I came from a single-parent family. My mom raised three of us. I'm the eldest of the three. I got married at the age of 23, and I've been married for 30 years now. That's the most difficult part to say, but I have my daughter, Allisa. I had her before I was married, and then I had Botham 10 years later, and then Brant.
How old is Allisa?
Allisa is 37.
Okay. And when was Botham's birthday?
Botham's birthday was this past Sunday.
And how old would have Botham been?
He would have been 28 years old.
And how old is Brant?
Brant is 18.
And tell the ladies and gentlemen about your husband.
My husband and I have been married for 30 years. That's the only husband I know. We are Christians. We worship at the Church of Christ in St. Lucia. So we have a simple life, one of faith, and that's how we raise our children in the church.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's spend some time talking about Botham. Can you tell them what type of student was Botham?
Botham went to elementary school in St. Lucia. At the age of 11, there's an examination that is called the Common Entrance Examination. That is what allows students to go into high school. It's a competitive examination. And in the year that Botham sat that exam, he ranked 23rd on the island. There are about over 4,000 students who write that exam, and he was 23rd. So he was admitted to what is known in St. Lucia as the top high school. It was the St. Mary's College. During his 5 years at high school, Botham was very active. He was president of his schoolhouse. He was also the leader for several little clubs, several groups. He started a choir because he loved to sing, so he got one of his teachers to commence a choir, and he was the one leading in that choir.
Was that in high school where he got the teacher to start a choir because he wanted to sing?
That's right.
You all right, folks?
Yes.
Ms. John, I'm going to show you some photos.
And I'm showing you it's been marked for evidence as State's Exhibit 325, 326, 327, 328, and 329. And are these photos, or some of the photos, of your son Botham?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And do you think these photos would help the jury to understand your testimony as you're discussing your son?
Yes, they will.
Say it's 325, 326, 327, 328, and 329 to the bench of the motion.
No objection.
They're all admitted. You may publish them at your discretion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Ms. John, who is that handsome young man right there?
That's my son. That's Botham.
And if you could, pull that microphone just a little bit closer to you, so the court reporter as well as ladies and gentlemen can hear you, okay? Ms. John, do you recall when this photo was taken?
Yes, this photo was taken when Botham was vying for president of the school council at the Harding University.
We're going to come back and talk a little bit about that, okay? And State's Exhibit 326. Who was that?
Yeah, that's Botham. It was at my retirement function, which the staff had for me. It was a surprise for me, but Botham was there. I worked in the public service of St. Lucia for 32 years, and I retired as permanent secretary in the Department of Infrastructure. And this is the function that Botham attended.
Now, you said that you're retired, but we started off talking about you're working again. How did that come about?
That's right. I left the public service very early, and I now with the regulator, which is a statutory organization, so it's not a full-fledged public sector employment.
In State's 327.
This is at Botham's high school graduation, and he's with his grandmother. The trophy that he has in his hand was awarded to him, and it's called the Spirit of St. Mary's Trophy. This is the trophy that is given to the top student, and it's given for discipline, for dedication, for academic excellence, and for active involvement in extracurricular activities.
And you say that this is his grandmother. Is she in court today?
Yes, she is.
And I'm going to skip to State 329.
That's Botham with his little brother Brant. We were in the Cayman Islands at the time. We were on vacation, and we were at a turtle farm. So that was Botham in the background and Brant in yellow.
And then State's Exhibit 328.
Yeah, so that's a photo of Botham with my daughter Allisa and her husband, Brant, and at the time, her two boys. Her two boys are my two grandsons. She now has 3 sons.
Now let's talk a bit about the age difference between Allisa, Botham, and Brant. What's the approximate age difference between the 3?
It's about 10 years.
And how did Botham and Allisa and Brant interact with that age difference apart?
Yeah, Botham was my middle child, And so he brought Allisa and Brand together because Allisa and Brand are 20 years apart. So I always referred to him as the glue to my 3 kids because he was able to relate to Allisa and bring Allisa to Brand and vice versa. But Botham was he also was this take charge type of person. So he was always giving advice, both to Allisa and to Brand. Although he was the younger brother, but he treated her like he was the older brother. And it was more so because he was bigger and taller than her. So he assumed the role of big brother, although she was 10 years older than him.
After high school, what was Botham's decision to do?
Botham, after high school, he also did 2 additional years in St. Lucia, and he also worked afterwards at a manufacturing company in St. Lucia. But his desire was to go to university in order to study accounting. My preference was for him to study accounting in the West Indies, which is close to where we lived. However, Botham was a very headstrong child, and he preferred to study at Harding University, which was in Searcy, Arkansas. And the primary reason he said to me was it was a Christian university, it was related to the Church of Christ, and he would have gotten an opportunity to continue his singing while he was at university.
When Botham decided to go to Harding University, had Allisa already left St. Lucia?
Yes, Allisa left St. Lucia about 18 or 19 years ago. So she was already in the United States, and she was a citizen of the United States then. So Botham felt that he wanted also to be closer to his sister. So that was another reason that he chose Harding University as opposed to a university in the West Indies.
Was he always good with math and numbers?
He was very good. He was good with math, good with accounting, although I wanted him to do engineering. But he just had his head made up, and he really wanted to do accounting.
So let's tell the ladies and gentlemen about when you took Botham to Harding. How was that experience?
Yes, we visited Harding in April of 2011, I believe. It was a weekend that they had Spring Sing, which was a sort of a concert. And from the time we got to Harding University, from the time we got to the campus, Botham looked like he was already admitted. So he would just leave me seated somewhere and say, "Mommy, I'll be back." And he was just all over the university. He had already made friends on that, just that weekend. And when I saw the way he behaved on the campus, in my mind, I'm saying I cannot disappoint him. I have to find some way of getting him to Harding, although at the time I felt that Harding was very expensive. Coming from the Caribbean, we do not have United States dollars. We have Eastern Caribbean dollars, which are $2.70 to a US dollar. So it would be expensive to be able to pay in US dollars. But seeing how elated he was, I had no choice but to accept that he would go to Harding.
So as a parent, you made it possible to let your child go to the university you wanted to.
That's correct.
Can I approach y'all? Showing States Exhibit 333, 334, and 335.
All right.
Do you recognize those photos?
Yes, I do.
And will these photos aid you in further discussing Botham at Harding?
Oh, yes.
State hindering to defense 333, 334.
No objection.
They're admitted, I'm sorry.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Jean, let's talk a little bit about Botham's time at Harding. What type of activities did he do while at Harding?
In addition to his academic studies, he was involved in the Good News Choir. It was a Good News Singers, which is a choir that go all over the United States singing. He was also, I think, an intern or something at the Rock House. He was involved in the youth ministry. So he did a lot of missionary type work, involved in sometimes doing preaching, singing. He also told me that he was part of a group called Bisons for Christ, and they went to several places helping people, helping the elderly, going out and clean people's homes. Because of his IT background, he assisted elderly people in setting up their computers. He told me he had set up a computer for an elderly couple so that they could have Skype contact with their children. So he did a lot of these activities.
Ms. Jean, you mentioned the Rock House. What is the Rock House?
The Rock House, I believe, is an organization that does outreach work. So they help other students. And he was one of those who was supposed to be encouraging the students to attend worship. So that was one of the responsibilities he was given. He was also part of the rugby team at Harding.
What was that?
Rugby, the game rugby, yes.
Okay, I'm going to show you what's been admitted as States Exhibit 333. We see Botham.
Yes.
Okay. And he has on the shirt that says college.
Yes.
You talked about him going on mission trips. Is this a picture from one of his mission trips?
Yes, this is a trip that all the others who are in the photograph are students with two adults from Harding. So he brought these students to St. Lucia. The background is the Boys Training Center, which is a center for delinquent boys in St. Lucia. And when he brought his fellow students and that team to St. Lucia, they concentrated on reaching out to these delinquent boys, together with an orphanage that they visited and many other institutions, but mostly institutions that had people who were at risk in some way. So the elderly home, the elderly folks' home, the orphanage, and delinquent boys. He concentrated a lot on serving these people.
How many years did Botham and his classmates from Harding come back to St. Lucia to do mission trips?
There's so many.
That's long,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. How many years did Botham and his classmates from Harding come to St. Lucia to do mission trips? Do you recall?
There are many, because he started 1 year after he went to Harding University, so that's 2012. And since then, they have come every year. 1 year they came twice. So there seem to have been about 7 or more trips to St. Lucia.
And then it states Exhibit 334. Is that just another group of, a picture of the group that was
in St. Lucia?
Yes, I'm not sure if it's the same year of the first photo, but that's a group of the students that came to St. Lucia, and they're at a sky ride park. So he took them.
Is it zip lining?
Zip lining, that's right.
And then States Exhibit 335.
Yes, that's the group that came in the spring. And Botham, together with Jake, the one with the white shirt on the opposite end of Botham, led, yes, the two of them led that team that year. The two adults were not there during that time. And that's a photograph taken in front of the church that we worship at in St. Lucia.
Commissioner Felciano?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked for identification purposes, States Exhibit 330, 331, and 332. And are these photos of both of them?
Yes,
Son?
yes.
And will they aid the jury in understanding your testimony as you're giving?
Oh, yes.
States tendering to defense 330, 331, and 332.
No objection, Your Honor.
Very good.
Commissioner Felciano?
Yes.
I'm showing you Ms. John, States Exhibit 332. When was this photo taken?
I think this photo was taken about 2 years ago. Might be 2017, but I know for sure it was taken in Jamaica, where Botham attended the annual Caribbean Lectureship of Churches of Christ. So he was a song leader, and every year the Churches of Christ meet in a different Caribbean island, and this time it was in Jamaica.
And so you said he was a song leader. Explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what his roles and responsibility were as a song leader for the conference.
Yes, so because Botham sang very well, he was placed as one of the people who would be leading the congregation in singing. So that Caribbean lectureship had members of Churches of Christ all over the Caribbean, the United States, in some cases England. Many people attend that lectureship. So Botham was selected for many years to be on the program for that lectureship.
And I'm showing you what's been marked as States Exhibit 330. Do you recall this photo?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about States Exhibit 330 and States Exhibit 331.
The first one with the lady is, again, one of the people that Botham reached out to in the community. Botham found out that this lady's birthday was on the same date with mine. That was March 11th. So he went to visit her with his friends, and he just went to sing with her and just made her happy. There's another photo, that has a cake. So he brought her a cake, and he just stayed the afternoon just singing with the group.
And prior to doing the mission work, had he known her in the past?
No. He just walked around the community and he just reached out to the people who he thought needed help. So he cleaned her backyard, and then they just sat there and he just sang with her.
And then in State Certificate 331, Ms. John, did your son have a passion for helping others?
That's right. This is actually a blind man and another person that he went to visit. And what he's doing there is singing to him.
And this is also on the island of St. Lucia?
It's in St. Lucia, yes.
Now, Ms. John, I want to talk a little bit about the day that you were notified that Botham was no longer with us. Do you recall where you were?
I was in New York with my daughter at 12:30 a.m. on September 7th when she came to inform me that she had gotten a call and that somebody told her that Botham was shot and that he died. Thank you.
And when you received that news, Ms. John, how has your life been since that particular day?
My life has not been the same. It's just been like a roller coaster. I cannot sleep. I cannot eat. It's just been the most terrible time for me. I'm not able to work, but I just try to busy myself just to see if it will get out of my head. But it's been very, very, very difficult.
And so, since this incident has occurred, you haven't been able to go back to work?
I went back to work in January of this year, but it's very, very difficult. I've been sick often, and I have to try to keep the family together because everybody's in pain. I've had to seek counseling every Tuesday. I have to get a therapist to come in and help. And I try to pray and fast and do all sorts of things just to help me get by.
What about Grant? How was the relationship between Botham and Grant before September 6th of 2018?
Botham and Brant had a very good relationship. Actually, Brant spent the summer of 2017 with Botham in his apartment here in Dallas. And when Brant was leaving, Botham called, crying because he didn't want Brant to leave. He felt that Brant spent 3 weeks with him, and the first week he said he had a lot of work to do, and he really regretted that he didn't spend enough time with Brant, and he really wanted him to stay.
And how is Grant processing?
I'm very concerned about him because he's just been very, very quiet. In the beginning, he was just punching down all the walls and everything, but now he's gotten quiet.
And have you been able to get help or counseling for Brandon?
He's been doing some counseling, but he doesn't speak much. So I'm not sure what's going through his mind.
And what about your husband? How was the relationship between Botham and your husband?
Botham again felt that he was the one to give advice. So his dad preaches as well, and he would call his dad, especially on a Sunday, and they would go over the sermon, and he would also always tell his dad, like, why didn't you do the sermon this way? Why didn't you look at it from that way? And why did you use that? Didn't you use that scripture? And why didn't you? So they were very close. We had a very, very close family. Very, very close. Both of them once surprised me for Mother's Day. I didn't know he was coming. I was sleeping that Sunday afternoon and I heard his voice. He used to call me Gigi. That was short for Governor General. He said I was his Governor General. And I was sleeping and I heard Gigi. And I'm like, but that's Botham's voice, but maybe I'm dreaming. So I closed my eyes again. And he just came and lay down on me on the bed. He flew all the way from Arkansas at the time, and he came to St. Lucia to surprise me.
With him in Arkansas, and at one point Allisa was it North Carolina?
North Carolina.
How did you keep the family together when they were so far apart?
I always made it my duty to spend time with all of my children. So both of them, Allisa was in the U.S., and I always spent Christmas with Allisa. And both of them came for the summer. So at some point over Christmas, both of them would leave Arkansas and come to North Carolina, so we all would be together. So I would take Brand up, and we all would be together, either in New York or in Arkansas.
At one point, Botham took an internship with PwC. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Did he tell you about that process and how he got into that job?
Yes.
Can you share that information with the jury?
In 2015, both came to Dallas to have an interview for that internship. Both of them called me crying, and I thought there was something wrong. And he said, "Mom, I made it for the internship." There were 12 people interviewed, and I think they were going to be selecting 6. So he was very nervous. He didn't think that he would have made it. And he was selected for the internship at PwC. And during the time he was on the internship, it was supposed to be for 6 weeks. But he was offered an extension for 6 months. And he was still studying at Harding then. So he was offered an extension to 6 months and also gotten an offer of employment to start in June or July of the following year. So he spent 6 months here in Dallas from June until December. He returned to Harding in January, graduated in May, and then came straight back to Dallas in June of 2016.
Did you ever come to Dallas to visit Botham?
Yes, I did in December of 2016. I came to visit Dallas. I came to visit Botham with my mom and my nephew, and we spent 3 weeks with him during Christmas time.
And during that time, did he have to work as well?
Yes. He was working in Austin. He would travel to Austin on a Sunday and return on a Thursday or Friday. So the first week that we spent with him, he took us to Austin. And he put us up at one hotel and he stayed at another hotel. He said it was because he didn't want us to disturb him because he was still at work. So he didn't mix business with pleasure. He stayed at one hotel and he said, "Y'all are on vacation, I'm not." So, but we had a good time with him.
Ms. John, when was the last time that you saw Botham before he passed away on September 6th of 2018?
I saw Botham on the 2nd, 3rd, I think it was the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of February in 2018. I was in New York, and Botham came across to New York to visit me. His dad was there as well, so that was the last time we saw him.
And how was that visit?
Beautiful. Again, he believed he surprised me.
You knew he was coming.
Yeah. So, but he told everybody not to tell me. But a little bird told me. So.
And when was the last time you spoke with him on the phone?
I spoke with him on September 5th. That was the day before. He called about 9:30 in the evening. So that's when we last spoke.
And this past Sunday was his birthday?
Yes, September 29th.
What have you done to try to cherish his name and the things that he was most fond of?
Yeah. All the things that Botham started, his outreach to the delinquent boys, the orphanage, the elderly home. We've started a foundation in his name, the Botham Foundation. And on Sunday, we launched the foundation at a gala event here in Dallas. We expect out of that foundation to reach out to other people. And in addition to these institutions, we've added the outreach to victims like ourselves, to lend support to them so that they can cushion the pain that we're going through. So that, we could help them in whatever way.
And on Sunday, Mrs. John, how old would Botham have been?
He would have been 28 years old.
So in his short 28 years, he dedicated himself to helping others?
Actually, 26 years he did that.
26 years, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Because he died a few days before his 27th birthday.
I have no questions.
Unless you be excused.
No objection.
Thank you very much, Ms. John.
State will call Carrie Ray.
and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much.
You may proceed.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Ray, would you please introduce yourself to the jury by your first and last name?
Kerry Ray,
And would you please spell it for the court reporter?
Kerry, last name Ray, Ray.
And Mr. Ray, how did you know Mr. Jean?
I was his coach, which is basically his direct boss, and then he also worked on my engagement.
Okay, and now I see you speak a little fast, and so the
Okay.
court reporter has to take down everything that you say, so if
Right.
you would just slow down a little bit when you speak.
Sure.
Now, you say so you were his coach, and where did you coach him at?
So the coach is essentially, we have a line of reporting. So coach is the first level of reporting. So I coached him on just work-related matters or anything that he wanted to talk about.
So I hear you say work-related matters. Did you work with Mr. Jean?
I did.
And please tell the jurors where you guys worked.
PricewaterhouseCoopers.
And Mr. Ray, what do you do for PricewaterhouseCoopers?
I am a senior manager in our risk assurance practice. So we work on, basically work on controls and compliance.
And what did Mr. Jean do at PricewaterhouseCoopers?
He did the same. He was an associate.
And Mr. Ray, when did you first meet Mr. Jean?
I met Bo during his internship, which would have been about 4 or 5 years ago.
And what stood out to you about Bo?
Mostly his attitude. Just very nice, personable, lit up a room. He got along with everybody. He was one of those guys when he started his internship, we immediately felt comfortable with him.
And so you immediately felt comfortable. Was it a feeling that we have to have this guy?
Oh, well, for me it was, definitely.
And please explain to the jury why you felt that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, what we do is very relationship focused, so we work with a lot of different people. And not only was he very personable, he was also very sharp.
And what do you mean by very sharp? Because
He was-
and maybe some of the jurors, what exactly do you do at PricewaterhouseCoopers?
I mean, we do a lot of different things. So when I say he was sharp, he's very intelligent. So if you just think about an auditor. I mean, I know most of you guys have heard that term. We're an auditor, just not, we focus on a bunch of different regulatory and compliance matters. So it's a field where you need to use your brain a lot, and you need to solve problems. And he was very good at solving problems as well as working with the client.
And so you said that you were his coach. What were you helping to coach him on?
All right. So everybody has a coach. I have a coach, but it's basically just you're developing. I've got 3 or 4 of them, and you develop them through their career. So you want to encourage the things that they do very well, and then you want to help them work on the things that they don't do so well.
And was Bo the sort of man or employee that did things well?
He did things very well.
Was he receptive to criticism if there was something that he might need to work on?
Very, to a fault, I would say. He was always looking to improve himself.
Always looking to improve himself. Would you say was he a go-getter?
Oh, definitely. He always wanted to do more.
And you met him in the internship process, so at some point in time there was an offer for employment extended to Bo. Would you please explain to the jurors how that process and discussion came about?
Yeah, so I mean, you do an internship, depending on what university or program you're in, determines when you do your internship. In his case, it was his junior year. So yeah, he received an offer, soon after or before his internship ended. So in many cases, we'll offer a full-term employment at the end of the internship.
And is employment with PricewaterhouseCoopers competitive, would you say?
Oh, very.
What were, around the office, if you could help explain, what was Bo's typical day like, if there is such a typical day at PricewaterhouseCoopers?
So there aren't a lot of typical days. I guess, but a general day would be, so we go through different phases, but, a typical day might be he shows up to the office or to the client site, give me or whoever he's working for on the engagement an update, and then for the rest of the day he'll be working, through his engagement. So he'll be meeting with clients and completing his deliverables so that we can deliver our work.
And what was Bo's specialty?
So, I mean, Bo had he was strong in the IT space. So,
What?
in the IT, so information technology space.
Okay.
So, he was very strong with applications and systems, and that's where he shined.
And what about the point of sales?
Yeah, so, and then that's part of the IT space. But yeah, so there are certain engagements where we work on different applications. A POS system may be one of them, but that's definitely an area where I would look to him for his expertise.
And would you say Bo made an impact on PricewaterhouseCoopers and specifically the Dallas location?
Yes and yes. I mean, his impact on Dallas location was outsized, right? So, I mean, everybody knew. I mean, a lot of people knew Bo, and anyone who knew Bo had a very high opinion of Bo.
It's just because of the type of man he was.
It was the type of person he was, just his almost his aura. I mean, when he went to a meeting or he joined your group or whatever it was, you knew Bo. He was just big personality, nice person, big smile. Never really had a bad thing to say about anybody. That's the kind of person he was.
And how has his passing impacted you and your fellow coworkers at PricewaterhouseCoopers?
It's been rough. So, I mean, I used to see or talk to Bo on a daily basis for, the 3 years I knew him. I mean, our group has had a very difficult time coming to terms.
And what do you mean by that?
It's just not seeing him on a daily basis, or not having that guy to lift you up. I mean, it's been tough.
And so did he provide, you said lift you up, so I'm guessing was Bo also a sense of comfort and support?
For me and for many others, definitely.
What, I guess, when was the last time you saw Bo?
Probably. I mean, the week he died, I saw him that week, or the week before. So I was at a conference the week he died, but we spoke every day while I was away. That's just that was our relationship. So he worked on my engagement. We spoke by phone, text, emails, and I just remember sending him a few messages on the plane while I was getting ready to take off that night, and I know by the time I landed, he was no longer with us.
Was Bo, I know you said, so I'm guessing work seems very important to him. Was he a person that finished his tasks by the time that you needed them done?
Yes. Bo's a perfectionist.
He's a perfectionist?
He's a perfectionist. So Bo, he wanted everything to be perfect. So, I mean, that was just personality. He wanted it done right. He wanted it done on time. And, I didn't worry about anything that Bo was working on.
Did you see a bright and long future for him at PricewaterhouseCoopers?
100%. So I paid a lot of special attention to him. And I target several people in the firm that I want to make sure I work with and develop, and he was definitely number one on that list because I knew he had whatever it is he wanted to do in the long term, whether it was with PwC or not, that he was going to be excellent at it.
And he was going to be excellent at it.
Yeah.
What would you say his potential was like?
Unlimited. He was, yeah, he could write his own check, I think. He had his own path to go.
I'll pass the witness.
No questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ray. You may be excused.
No objection, Ms.
No
State.
objection.
Oh, sorry.
The state will call Robert Watson.
No, thank you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Make yourself comfortable.
You may proceed, Your Honor.
Yes, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Watson. Sergeant Watson, you look a little different today,
Yes, ma'am.
but you are in fact the same Robert Watson that testified for this jury last week.
Yes, ma'am.
And Sergeant Watson, we called you back because you were the defendant's sergeant for the CRT team, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And I guess that would put you in sort of an immediate supervisor position.
Yes, ma'am.
And I brought you back because I wanted to ask you, in the years that you spent with as the defendant's supervisor and sergeant over CRT, did there come a time where you made an internal affairs affair referral based on some actions taken by the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
And would you please explain those to the jury?
It was regarding an incident where Ms. Guyger had an individual in custody, and she was by herself, and the individual got away. He got up and ran away. She called for assistance, and other officers showed up to help her.
And this incident that you're referring to, did this occur in August of 2018?
That sounds about right.
Okay. And so you said it was a situation in which a individual got away. Was this a handcuffed prisoner?
Yes, ma'am.
And so did this handcuffed prisoner escape away from the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
And did the defendant notify the immediate supervisor?
A supervisor was on scene. He wasn't made aware that it was a handcuffed prisoner.
He was not made aware?
Yes, ma'am.
And when were you notified that a handcuffed prisoner had escaped from the defendant?
Several hours after that incident had occurred.
And based off of, at the point in time when you learned of it, you felt that this was some information that you needed to make a referral to the Internal Affairs Division?
Yes, ma'am.
And that this was something more than just a situation that you could do verbal counseling for?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
Sergeant Watson, how long did you supervise Ms. Guyger?
Whenever she started the CRT team, I was a supervisor then.
Okay. And overall, during the time that you supervised her, was she a dependable officer?
Yes, she was.
Did she work hard?
Absolutely.
Did she come into contact with numerous violent felons on the CRT team?
Yes, sir.
Did you trust her as far as her character with regard to being on your team?
Yes, sir.
With regard to this incident, there was a suspect that had been arrested. You know what the suspect was arrested for?
I believe he had illegal narcotics on him, if I recall right.
And there was no indications or allegations that Ms. Guyger used any inappropriate force with this suspect, correct?
No, sir.
The suspect was handcuffed, and somebody let their guard down for a minute. And if you let your guard down, for a second, then this is what can happen. The guy ran off while handcuffed, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, there was efforts made to immediately find this guy, correct? The suspect?
Yes.
And was that what everybody's immediate attention was on?
Yes, sir.
And a supervisor was out there, correct?
Yes.
And the supervisor, I guess, was informed that a suspect had escaped, correct?
Yes.
But the supervisor wasn't notified with the specific words that a handcuffed prisoner had escaped, correct?
Yes, sir.
At any time you have a suspect escape, especially handcuffed, you're going to want as a supervisor, it's your duty to inform the chain of command by requesting further investigation, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it's a not just for disciplinary purposes, but also for training purposes, correct?
Yes, sir.
Officers are on a daily basis, a number of interactions with suspects and prisoners, and even though Ms. Guyger has dealt with numerous violent felons, your concern was that, okay, we can't let our guard down for any second, and there needs to be clear communication afterwards. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
is this the type of violation in and of itself that would lead to serious discipline?
Not that I've ever seen, sir.
I'll pass the witness.
Briefly, Your Honor. Sergeant Watson, were you on duty that day?
I was not.
Where were you? Were you at?
I was on a day off, yes,
There
ma'am.
are, okay. But there was an on-duty supervisor, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the defendant did not notify that on-duty supervisor.
True.
She notified you, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said you found out several hours later?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a mechanism in place to where if there, we'll strike that. When you returned to duty, why did you feel it was important to make the referral instead of just do verbal counseling?
Because we're required to notify the chain of command when a prisoner escapes custody.
And a prisoner escaping custody, especially one handcuffed, isn't that, that's a serious situation that the chain of command as well as the safety of the public need to be aware of, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
No further.
May he be excused?
No objection from the state, Your Honor.
No objection.
Thank you very much, Sergeant.
They called Allisa Findley.
I'm sorry, who's that?
Allisa Findley?
Make yourself comfortable, Ms. Finley. You're still under oath.
Yes. Ms. Finley, you're the same Ms. Finley that testified earlier this week in trial, is that correct? Or
Yes.
last week, I'm sorry.
Yes, I am.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury about your relationship or what you have observed with your parents since your brother has passed.
I know my mom, well, my entire family just hasn't been the same. My mother, she's different. She cries a lot. Most of the time she would call me. We try our best to comfort each other, but it's really hard because sometimes she calls me on a bad day where I'm low. For Bertram, I would describe him as just a shell, because it's like the light behind his eyes are off. He's not the same.
When you say he's not the same, his attitude and his demeanor's not the same?
Yes, he has always been like Botham, a bubbly type of person, and he's not that way anymore. Sometimes you speak with him and I don't even know if he hears.
And you currently live in New York, correct?
I do.
Has this caused you to go home and check on your parents more often?
I call them more often. Yeah, I make it my duty to call my mom or text her at least, every day, a few times a day, because I know that was always a concern for her with both of them to always have contact. So again, even though I'm low, I would still make it my duty to reach out to her, just so that she knows that I'm okay.
And how has this affected your younger brother, Brent?
Brent is another shell. He has always been a quiet person, but even now he's even more quiet. I know both him and I, we've had conversations about Brent, about bringing him out of his shell. When both of them visited Brent, my mom spoke of One time, both of them went into his car, and he called me crying, like, Brad doesn't want to do anything with me, and he felt like he let Brad down because he left. So they didn't get more of an opportunity to bond. So he was very emotional about that. And so I don't know. I'm worried about Brent.
Tell the jury a little bit more about your relationship with both of your children. You have 3 boys, correct?
I have 3 boys.
And what are their ages?
14, 11, and 4.
And did they call him Uncle Bo?
They called him Botham. He tried to demand that they call him Uncle, but he was Botham.
How are they processing life without Botham?
When I told them what happened, it was the 7th. It was a Friday. They just went back to school. School started the 6th in New York. And every Friday they have a half day. So when they got home, I made them sit down and I told them what happened. Jaden, he's a lot like Brant, an introvert. So he cried, but his way of coping is every time both of them came to New York, he would leave some item of clothing for Jaden. So Jaden would wear, even though it's way too big for him, he would still wear it. His hoodies, T-shirts, he would wear them. Jareem, he's 11. Jareem, now he is scared of police officers. One time I picked them up from school and he came running scared, and I was scared because I thought something was wrong with him, and he came into the car and like, what's going on? And he said he just saw a police officer, and that frightened him. Jordan, if he walks by a photograph of Botham, he would say, oh, there's Botham, because Botham always used to sing with him. Jordan likes to sing, even though he's 4, and Botham would always sing with him. So.
How often would Botham come to New York to visit you?
Anytime he got the opportunity. And it would be for the weirdest reasons. He always wanted a reason to come to New York because he loved New York. When I closed on my house, September 2017, that was a reason. So he came, and I spent his birthday with him. He would come for Christmas, Thanksgiving. Any holiday, we tried to spend it together.
And we heard your mom talk about how Botham thought he was the big brother.
Yes.
Would you say that you spoiled him?
I did. I think so. I would say I'm overprotective when it comes to my family, and both them, I treated him like one of my boys, one of my children. So when he was attending Harding, he would call in the middle of the night for me to order a pizza for him and have it delivered to the dorm. So I would do it. If he wanted a new phone, he would call me. I'm like, fine, I will give it to him. So, yeah.
And in fact, he was on your cell phone plan until he got a real job?
For a while, up until it was, 2018, he tried to convince me to add him back to it.
But he was also very generous with you as well.
He really was. When I closed on my house and he came on his birthday, 2017, he asked me to take him to Best Buy, so I did. And it was for him to buy me a TV as a housewarming on his birthday.
And was Botham very active in his church here in Dallas?
He was. He was really active. He was the song leader he always made it into a role in the church. So he was a song leader. When he would visit in New York, and if we sang a new song that he didn't know, he would record it and go teach it back to Dallas West Church of Christ. So he was very active in the church. He also taught the youth ministry that was on Wednesday nights. He started that as well.
May I post the witness, Sean?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked for identification purposes in States Exhibit 336 and 337. Do you recognize the people in 336?
Yes.
Okay. And 337 contains videos in which I showed you earlier, correct?
Yes.
And those videos of Botham singing, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And there's 336 and 337 to the bench for any objection.
No objection to 336 and 337.
They're both admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
Allisa, when was this photo taken?
This was in December 2012.
And who's in this photo?
Myself, Brent, and Botham.
And this is Miss Allison's
3 children.
3 children.
Yes.
And Brent looks very young on this photo.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. And this is States Exhibit 337, titled Bow Singing No. And I'm going to play Bow Singing 3. And so, those are the only 2 I published on.
Okay. Thank you.
Allisa, I saw you put your head down.
Yes.
Are those hard to watch?
His voice.
It's hard to hear his voice.
Yes.
And when you hear his voice, what do you think? How does it make you feel?
That I want my brother back.
You can just hear that voice and talk to that voice. One last time.
Yeah. Like if I could just continue our conversation, our last conversation, just not let him hang up the phone.
I have no questions.
Mr. Dees.
No objection.
No objection.
this time, Your Honor, the state would like to offer and admit into evidence State's Exhibits number 356, 355, 354, 353. Junior Defense Counsel for protection.
Judge, we re-urge the objections made earlier as to exactly as articulated in front of the judge. We re-urge those objections to each exhibit at this time.
All right, those objections will be overruled.
And Judge, Commissioner Publish.
Yes, ma'am.
State's Exhibit number 353 contains an extraction of the defendant's cell phone, and these are text messages from January 15, 2018 at the MLK parade. Text message sent to the defendant asked, "Are you working this parade?" Other messages came in from the defendant. "Yes, grandsons are on the other side if she can get through." Other message, "Where's Justin's number? Can you ask him if he told this lady?" Another message, "Held on, I worked it for 10 years, I'm good." Another message that came into the defendant's cell phone says no. A message sent out said, "LOL, dang, yep, you deserve to have it off. Was hoping you were just to say hi, miss y'all." Message sent to the defendant, "Miss you too." Message sent to the defendant, "When does this end? LOL." Outgoing message from the defendant, "When MLK is dead, ... Oh wait, ... Incoming message says, "Ha." Outgoing message, "Geez, 2.5 hours on 3 hours of this." Incoming message, "You could have met one, LOL, next time." Incoming message, "Standing at hardwood and MLK on opposite end." Outgoing message, "Just push them or spray with your pepper spray in that general area." State's Exhibit number 354. Again, an extraction report from the data from the defendant's cell phone. This is dated September 4th, 2018. Incoming message, "Do you know what you need? A German Shepherd." Incoming message, "I happen to have one for you." Incoming message, "She's not very smart, but she'll love you." Outgoing message, "LOL, is it your dog?" Incoming message, No, it's your dog." Incoming message, "Although she may be racist." Outgoing message, "I wish I could have one, but not in this apartment. Smaller than my old one." Outgoing message, "It's okay, I'm the same." Incoming message, LMAO. Outgoing message, "I hate everything and everyone but y'all." Outgoing message, "Ranger would be eaten alive." Incoming message, "Haha, no you don't." State's Exhibit number 355. Again, this is an extraction report taken from the defendant's cell phone, dated March 9th, 2018. Text from Martin Rivera. Incoming, "Damn, I was at this area with 5 different black officers. Not racist, but damn." Outgoing message, "Not racist, but just have a different way of working, and it shows." Just a moment, Your Honor. The state would like to offer into evidence State's Exhibit number 401 and State's Exhibit number 357, 358, and 359, tendering to defense counsel for objections.
What was 359?
359 is going to be one of the social media posts.
Judge, no objection to State's Exhibit 401, the business record with the single page.
That would be admitted.
We object to State Exhibit 357 pursuant to Rule 901 of the Texas Rules of Evidence, as well as 401 and the balancing test in Rule 403, Your Honor. And object to State's Exhibit 358 pursuant to Rule 901 of the Texas Rules of Evidence, as well as under 401 and the balancing test under 403. And defense objects to State's Exhibit 359 pursuant to Rule 901 and that these are not properly authenticated, and under 401 and the balancing test of 403.
And permission to publish these, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll put those. And then just one more, Your Honor. The state will also like to offer at this time State's Exhibit number 400, tendering to defense counsel for objection.
Your Honor, State's Exhibit 400 is the application processing unit records for reasons stated previously on the record.
Your objections are overruled.
And permission to publish.
Yes, they're each admitted.
State's Exhibit number 400, under business records affidavit, are records from the Dallas Police Department and their applicant process unit. Dated for August 23rd, 2012. The defendant's name, Amber Guyger, preliminary interview for the Dallas Police Department. Page 2, Section 3. Question B, have you ever applied with any law enforcement agency, fire department, or related work, including cadet or explorer? Yes or no? Circles, yes. Date and position applied, approximately June 7, 2012, to the Fort Worth Police Department. Fort Worth, denied, police officer. Approximately July 15, 2012, DFW Airport, police officer. Page 4 of State's Exhibit 400. Drug usage. A, have you ever smoked or experimented with marijuana? Circles yes. Number of occasions, 3. First used, July 2009. Last used, June 20th, 2011.
Thank you.
Last page, drug usage. Dates used, July 2009, last used, June 2011, first time, July 2009. Second question, total number of times used, 3. Ever bought? No. Ever possessed more than 4 ounces of marijuana? No. Narrative. First tried right out of high school with friends. Then in 2011, two times, 2X, friend's birthday. Again, dated August 23rd, 2012. State's Exhibit number 357, taken from the defendant's Pinterest account. And it states, I wear all black to remind you not to mess with me because I'm already dressed for your funeral. The bottom of State's 357. Amber with a smiley face, saved to love to laugh. Comment, yeah, I got me a gun, a shovel, and gloves. If I were you, back the fuck up and get out of me fucking ass. State's Exhibit number 358. States, stay low, go fast, kill first, die last. 1 shot, 1 kill, no luck, all skill. At the bottom, it says Amber, and the comment says Navy SEALs. Saved her quotes and inspiration. State's Exhibit number 359. States, people are so ungrateful. No one ever thanks me for having the patience not to kill them. At the bottom of State's Exhibit number 359, Amber, smiley face, save the love to laugh, comment, grateful minion.
You all ready to vote?
Yes.
All right.
I'm sure you're going to break our two copies too.